In this episode, we are going to take a certain segment of Jukwaa la Wananchi by Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen. Yes, he's doing a very good thing by having the Jukwaa la Wananchi. He can do it a bit better or much better if he implements. I know we may agree on 10 points, but because of various reasons, he can only fulfill 3. Let it reach a stage where he can address the nation and say that this is what we found. And these are the 10 points that we found. And we could only manage to address 2 in full and 1 partly, but the rest we cannot fulfill. There are various reasons why you cannot fulfill everything. Some of the things are contradicting each other. Some of the things are like issue of chiefs complaining. Yeah, chiefs complaining that they arrest people. Then they go to the police station. Either the people are released or the police now train these people how to defend themselves in court or how to turn the hunter be the hunted. Because here is a chief found to have arrested a Changa fellow, which is it's called a misdemeanor, a small offense. But the police has tuned this Changa dealer to go and get a P3, and it is now the chief to decide if the case has to continue. The chief will be jailed for assault, and the Changa dealer will be fined for 1,000 or 2,000. So the chief, there are those small problems that can be solved through dialogue, through whatever. There are other cases like when they want more fuel, the government has to wait for the next financial year. This is what I'm trying to say. There, if we sit down and decide the problems are 10, and we see that you have solved 3 fully, 2 you have solved partly, you'll find most Kenyans saying, hiyo ingine hata wachana nayo tu. So he is doing a good job. The Jukwaa la Usalama, his work would be 0 if he thinks that listening to them psychologically will have solved their problem. You have had their problems. Now, what do you do with those problems? Solve what you can. There are those like allocating finance to the police needs being presented to other people, that is the parliament, and so on and so forth. So let him not just stop there. But my request to him is, as much as he is doing good job in Jukwaa la Usalama and such other moves, let him not be a lawyer appearing for the police. This thing I've noticed that he is very, okay, by profession is a lawyer, and lawyers, once you hire the lawyer, he's supposed to advise you, he's supposed to cover you, he's supposed to defend you, he's supposed to do whatever. What Kipchumba Murkomen is doing in some of the times are like being the lawyer to the police. He currently, he is a non-practicing lawyer. He's a non-practicing lawyer, and in his, they say, learned friend, yeah, in his learning should be for the good of the people. should be for the good of the people and the good of the nation. Some of his utterances can be misquoted. I would appeal to him, I would beg him that some of his utterances may be counterproductive, but most importantly, they may contribute to bad blood between the people and the police. And I'm sure nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. If there is bad blood between the police and the people, he should be the last person to cause that. Not only is he a senior lawyer, he was also teaching law at the university. He knows, and everybody knows, that any interpretation of court orders should be, on one hand, not done deliberately to go against the court spirit. On the other hand, court interpretations are meant to make ordinary people understand in a simplified manner. In any law and in any judgment by a court of law, there are two things. There is the law, and then there is the spirit of the law. When it comes to the spirit of the law, that is where he's now misquoting things going against the spirit of the law. The court said that police officers during demonstration should not wear masks to cover their faces. The court also said that police in demonstration should not wear civilian clothing. In the two instances, the court is talking of during demonstrations, like the Sabasaba, during that time. That particular court did not stop, like if you go to the police station now and you find a police officer putting on a mask, you don't say the court say, It talks that when there is a demonstration or anything of that nature, you don't put on mask and you don't put on civilian. The court talked about during demonstration, not any other time. Yes, we may have problems with police putting mask on other occasions, but we cannot refer to this particular judgment because this particular judgment was talking about the day, the Sabasaba and related GNC demonstration or any other demonstration we can have today or tomorrow, or riots or whatever. That is what they said, that they should not wear masks. And then again, when you're having a demonstration and you find somebody in a suit and is having a rifle during demonstration, how do we know that? How can we differentiate that one from Al Shabaab who has infiltrated the demonstrators? So the court meant, and I repeat, during demonstration. Any other time they can wear a mask, or any other time they can wear civilian clothes. Any other time, whatever they do is covered by any other circumstances. But when it comes to demonstration like the GNC, or even yesterday when there was a demonstration about Palestine, police should not wear should not wear a mask and should not wear civilians. By wearing civilians, they meant there are those cases where you find during demonstration, police, you remember those Subarus without number plates. That is what the court meant. When the court said that the police on demonstration should be in civilians, that is what the court said, that the police during demonstration should be in civilian. They did not mean that the DCI officers should at all times be in uniform. You see, when Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen said, no, this thing needs interpretation. He is a lawyer. I am not, but I know something that he knows and is trying to cheat people. Any interpretation you make is supposed to make people understand in a simplified mean or a simplified way what the court intended. It should not divert, it should not bring any other interpretation. So, when he said, how many DCI officers do you have in Kenya? Let me ask a question. A DCI officer in Buruburu doing his normal duty and whatever is not covered under that judgment which talked of police officers in demonstration. According to trainings in Kiganjo, in the demonstrations, police officers can mingle with the demonstrators, but will not associate themselves with their colleagues handling riot. Why do we have police officers mingling with the demonstrators? It is to have a feeling and to have whatever. In fact, even to gather intelligence. But during that time when police officers are mingling with civilians, they don't interact with the other police officers. Of course, they know each other. They know each other because in the evening they'll come and give them intelligence, but they'll not mingle so that the demonstrators cannot know that somebody among them is gathering intelligence. But what the court was against is the instances where people come with Subarus without number plates. People come with Subaru without number plates. People carry rifles and even other firearms while in civilian. That is, the court said, and that is the spirit of the court, that officers who are doing who are controlling the demonstration, the officers who are controlling the demonstration should not wear masks. The officers who are controlling demonstration should not be in civilian. Of course, I've explained a few minutes ago that officers may mingle with the demonstrators to gather intelligence. That is different from seeing a police officer with a rifle while in jeans. Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen said that police hide their faces since they have families and they don't want to be known. And he said that demonstrators may target the relatives of those police officers. I will answer in two ways. First of all, being a police officer or even being related to a police officer has its own side effects. It has its own side effects. This cop, and let me say, before I talk about this cop with a birthmark in the Rex Masai case, some of us may have ended up in jail a long time ago. But we are very careful because joining the police, it's also very risky. Take an example of this, what is his name, the warrior, Pangani warrior, who is in jail now. Take the example of the police officer called Kalambia. How many people, how many suspects have they killed? How many people have they jailed? There's a time the prisons gates are closed so that you pray to God. If you become sick at night, they cannot open that. Because trying to open those things at night, they may be overpowered by inmates. So, imagine the gates closing for over 8 hours or even 6 hours. and then the fellow prisoners turn to you, ulikuwa unafunga watu. Or even worse, it could even happen that some of the people you jailed may end up in the same jail. So that is why some of us are very, very careful not to commit an offense, because assuming that they have closed the big gates at the prison, and somebody comes and says, ulinifunga, ulifikiri huwezi kuja huku, and he incites fellow inmates to beat you up. By the time morning comes, you know what I'm saying. So by being a cop, or even being related to a cop, has its side effect. This cop with a birthmark in the Rex Masai case, doesn't he have relatives? I can assure you, even right at this time, his people here, Kinanani, what is Talam, the OCS Central Police Station. By now, a lot of where he comes from, where he went to school, we have our schools. There are 3 WhatsApp groups that I am in. There is the WhatsApp for Bagadi Road Primary School. There is WhatsApp for Nairobi Technical, where I did my O levels, and Bungoma High, where I did my A levels. We have those WhatsApp groups. Don't you think anything happening to me, people discuss on that, those what happened? So things of saying that, no, let them put on mask. It is this way. They are going to employ 10,000 recruits. I am very sure more than 100,000 young men and young women will line up. If you know your relative may be an embarrassment to him, to you, if you know your relative is putting a target on himself or herself, tell them not to line up. There is something, okay, I've just remembered something I want to tell the people because of that 10,000 recruits. It has been agreed that they are going to recruit 10,000 people. You will take yourself from your home, go line up, ukimbizwe huku na huku. You'll be praying to God that you be one of the 10,000. That is how disciplined forces or disciplined services get their recruits in Kenya. In other countries, they are conscripted. What is the meaning of a conscript? I've just said that in Kenya, very shortly, young men and young women who are going to line up, are going to run there and whatever. They are going to do a lot of tiresome thing, but most importantly, they are going to do a lot of praying. But for a conscript, if Kenya were to have conscript, this is what happens. A letter comes from the national headquarters to each and every sub-county, where the assistant county, where the deputy county commissioner and his or her assistant county commissioners will sit down and say that this sub-county, we have been given how many slots? We have been given 20 slots. And how many divisions do we have? So each and every division will. So you go with your chiefs, grab 3 boys, 2 girls from your sub-county. Then the chiefs and the chiefs and the ACC will now look at the areas and decide who are these boys and girls who can make very good police officers or very good military officers. When they have decided that, when you see them coming, you run away from them. You pray to God that you are faster than them. That is the difference between recruitment and conscripting. Conscripting, they come and it's just like a prison of war. You remember Jomo Kenyatta ran away not to be conscripted. He ran to Narok during the First World War. So that is the last time. I think Second World War, there was also conscripting. In Kenya, we don't have conscript. So for Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen to say that these are police officers with the relatives and they don't want to be known, kindly, nobody forced you to join the police. Nobody has forced you to continue being there. So long as you fulfill the conditions, there is even a law that says 24 hours notice. I have also noticed Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen contradicting both both the Inspector General of Police and his deputies, plus the Director of Criminal Investigation. Command and leadership in senior training school dictates that, for example, if you are an OCPD, you can not contradict an OCS publicly. That is not allowed. You are not supposed to contradict him before his askaris. You are not supposed to contradict him before civilians. You are supposed to call him or her aside and correct him or her. Now, when the Inspector General of Police, the two DIGs and the director when these people talk something, and then I want to give an example, especially the example that provoked me into recording this. Somebody said that the court had said that police should not wear masks. Why are they still wearing masks? The Inspector General of Police responded and said, a lot of police officers are doing a very good job. One or two, when they do that mask and whatever, that is not the face of the force. The face of the force is what majority are doing. And he said that in such few cases, when we identify with them, we deal with them. That was something that did not require clarification. That was a very clear and straightforward response. And I'm sure the person who asked that question was contented. And anybody else who listened to that was contented. But Murkomen took the microphone and said, here is the clarification. And it was not clarification. It was contradiction. It is contradiction because that is when he came up and said, you see, police officers have relatives, they don't want to be known, something like that. The answer by the Inspector General of Police was very clear. That yes, the court has given that instructions, very clear instructions, and we are trying to do that. If there is one or two, it's not a reflection of the service. But then again, when we identify them, we deal them from case by case. That is the point that provoked the shooting of this. It is unfortunate, and most importantly, Murkomen should not violently be seen to be an advocate of the police brutality. Until Gen Z came, whenever you could be seen, whenever you could be deemed to be criticizing Raila Amolo Odinga. There is a certain province where they came full force. Eh? There's even a feeling that I used to have a feeling that if you meet such a person, he'll physically assault you. That nowadays I don't think it may be there, but very much diminished. Having a person like Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen with his CV, being a former law school lecturer, being a senior lawyer. You know, there's a difference between a senior lawyer and a senior counsel. Senior lawyer, that is when you find other lawyers saying, my learned senior. A senior lawyer, if you are called to the bar today, any lawyer who was called yesterday is senior to you, is a senior lawyer. But senior counsel, it's a prestigious group of lawyers who have worked for quite a long time. We can call it Hall of Famer. So I don't think he has yet reached that stage, but he is a senior lawyer. We should be grateful that we have a lawyer as the Minister for Internal Security, but let him not behave like APs. Let him not behave like APs. If you have not noticed, the difference, okay, there are very many differences between APs and police and GD, general duties, but one of the differences is this: in the general duties, what you call regular police, it's not called regular police; it's called general duties. In general duties, you have a problem, you solve it alone. They run away from you until you solve your problem. When you have solved, then you resume back. With the AP, make a complaint against an AP. His or her colleague will not even greet you. But once the tension is over, once you have solved the problem, then they do that. That is how Kipchumba Murkomen is now behaving. Is now behaving that as an AP. He does not want anything bad talked about the police. He wants the police to be the colonial police. I'm a son of a colonial police officer. You know, whoever decided that we should change the name of the Kenya Police from Kenya Police Force to the Kenya Police Service wanted a situation where civilians and police officers are on friendly terms. You go to Tanzania, the police force is inaitwa Jeshi la Polisi. Jeshi la Polisi, meaning police force. You go to Uganda, it's called UPF, Uganda Police Force. But in Kenya, it's a police service. It is a police service. It is a shame. It is unheard of, unimaginable for a person like me to be correcting a person like Murkomen. Murkomen is the one who is supposed to be spending long time telling us what the law stands for. But unfortunate, when the power enters your head, jijazie.